Hi, I'm Cindy Abbott Letro for Behind the Camera, and I'm sitting with Chris Bongirne, who's the executive producer of Marshall, which I think all of us here in Buffalo loved and looked at. And as he'll say, it was really a postcard to Buffalo, because Buffalo looked good in that film. And he is back, and he is shooting a film that's a little bit different. It's called Bashira, is that correct? Mm-hmm. And you are executive producer on that as well. But this movie is taking place in modern times, correct?
Correct.
And can you tell us what it's about? I know that...
Tell a little bit. It's actually it's such a radically different film than Marshall, in that it's set in present day, and I call it a scary movie. Not really a horror film, but maybe a scary movie might be the best interpretation of it. And it's about 5 college friends who are in the electronic dance music scene, and they get haunted by a Japanese witch. Called Bashira.
It's certainly a little different than anything I would think about Buffalo. Now, you were able to find a period courtroom for Marshall. Now, where do you find a Japanese witch in Buffalo?
Well, we invent her. She's going to be mostly visual effects. Okay. But there's certain areas in Buffalo, because it's kind of a nondescript college kind of town that we set it in, that we found some great locations here. I think we're going to be shooting at Buffalo State University. And there's some scary places, like there's some abandoned sections of the Statler Hotel. Ooh. So we're able to kind of find some nice places that will make it scary enough.
What brought you back? Was it because these were places you couldn't find anyplace else, or because it was easy, you knew from Marshall that it was easy to work here?
It was that. I mean, it really was. It was the second. It was the latter. That I really found, having worked here, that I could easily make this film here. That's it in a nutshell. I love the crews. I love the film commission. I love, there's some tax breaks here that the state offers that are quite attractive also. But it kind of just fit. Does that make sense? It just kind of fit. So I could have shot at many places, but we wound up here.
You grew up not so far from here in Pennsylvania.
In Pennsylvania.
What is it, like, near Carbondale?
Carbondale, Pennsylvania, up in the northeast corner, near Scranton, yes.
And in fact, we were talking a bit, and the Pagulas are from that area, who are a big part of what is the future of Buffalo.
Absolutely. Terry Pagula, some of my relatives, as I was coming up, they're saying, you know, tell that Terry he still owes us money.
Oh, okay, Terry, you heard about that. Just send it right to the Film Commission, and
but I think it was from like high school or something like that. So.
That's good. Let's clarify that as we go. But you live in New York now. How did you get involved in the film business? What was it?
I went to school for it. I mean, it was just something. I had studied engineering for a couple of years, and I didn't think necessarily that was going to be my future. I didn't see myself doing it for the rest of my life. So somehow I shifted and said, what could I see myself doing for the rest of my life? And I went, oh, there's this thing about making films that could be fun. And so I wound up at New York University. And
that's a great film school.
Exactly. And so it was a great training ground, and then I went right into working in New York City and kind of worked my way up from production assistant all the way up through to where I'm producing today.
So we see the title, executive producer. What does an executive producer do? Because then there's a producer, there's an associate producer, there's this, it goes down, down, down.
It's not an easy thing to decipher sometimes, and it changes from film to film, but as a general rule, the executive producer kind of has something to do with the raising of the money, as a general rule. And then the producers are the ones who are more creatively involved in the project, maybe having attached, and developed the script, or brought in some talent. They might have a great relationship with an actor who helps the financing come so that they get a producer credit. So it's sort of nebulous, and then we get into co-producers and associate producers, and it's different on every job.
Well, I was just thinking about when you said that about the talent, because with Marshall, you have, and I didn't know if you knew at the beginning when you brought them in if they were friends. Certainly, Chadwick Boseman had been in a lot of different things. Kate Hudson, and who played the first chair, Josh Gad. Yes, he is so wonderful. They're really talented. But was that your personal relationship, or did they read the script and said, I want to do this. I mean, it was such a wonderful project. And will that happen on this next film you're involved in?
Right. I mean, with that film, Chadwick was involved from pretty early on.
Sure, I can see that.
He was everybody's first choice, so he came on pretty early. The rest of them literally came on because they read the script and they liked it. So that was the easy part. Having a good script is always easier to attract talent.
Well, who did the script for this current one?
It was the director, Nixon Fong, and a friend of his, Todd Odvik, who wrote the script based on kind of a Japanese myth, Japanese legend.
So the stars of this film, have you cast them already?
Yeah, because of the genre of the film, you don't necessarily need stars, meaning big household names, to be able to attract an audience to these projects, to come into the theaters to see it and stuff. So it's mostly really smart, good actors that we have, with maybe one or two recognizable faces that we're just about to close the deals on. So I honestly don't know who's going to be in it.
And who do you see as the audience for this?
It's going to be young people. It's going to be college grads. You know, it's a typical scary or horror film audience.
Do you have other projects that are in the hopper? Like once this is done, you're going on, or are you just focusing all of your attention on Bashir?
I've got another period film that's really kind of dear to my heart. It's a true story of like a Japanese diplomat who basically in World War II wound up, he was really a spy, but he wound up being a consul general of Lithuania. And in the process became instrumental in writing visas to save over 6,000 people.
How remarkable!
From the camps, and as such, he's the only Japanese person honored in Yavasham, the Holocaust Memorial.
What a wonderful
That's
story.
The among men.
So there are many more stories to tell, and hopefully many more to do here in Buffalo. Chris Bongirne, thank you for being with us.
Thank you.
This is Behind the Camera. We'll see you next time.